What's up, guys? David 1, 2, and 2, and welcome back to Top Tuesday. I know it's a couple weeks off, but I had to reset my computer and reinstall Windows, and I lost the video editing program that I was using before, so I figured now would be the perfect time for me to instead switch over to Premiere and learn how to use a man's editing program. However, it's very complicated, so I had to teach myself how to use it, and kind of pull Ryan for a few things, because he's been kind of using it on and off for a little while now. So I hope this comes together okay. I'm still learning. However, it does seem to work a ton better, so that's cool. I am going back home to Rochester this weekend, so there probably won't be a Top Tuesday next week, but that is an exception to the rule. Going forward until the end of GX, we will be doing our best cars in every set of the game for the foreseeable future. And the best place to start for GX is the first set of GX, and that is the Lost Millennium. Ah yes, Lost Millennium. We are in the middle of GOAT format, and so released a set that did nothing to change the format. Well, I think people added one card to their decks because of it. Yay. GX ended up starting with quite a bit of a whimper. The set's pretty bad, and it was actually quite difficult for me and the people on Discord to come up with 10 cards that are worth talking about. But we do change the rules a little bit going from here and forward, because looking at the sets in a bubble is going to get exceedingly difficult from this point on, because most of the cards after this point are archetype based or legacy support or support that will be used later, and it's really hard to quantify that kind of thing when it's like, oh, if I only look at the cards in the set, a bunch of bad cards get stuck on there. And a bunch of good cards that we all know are good end up getting bumped off the list, and that's just stupid, because whatever. But without further ado, let's get to it. Oh boy, here we go. Number 10. Number 10 is Ancient Gear Golem. So the Ancient Gear deck actually has some pretty nifty cards in it, and this is their first set. And Ancient Gear Golem is actually the mascot card for the set, so I made him number 10. Now I know Beast is probably a better card, at least at this point, but he's the mascot of the set and the deck, so he gets to be on here and represent the whole archetype at this point. So Ancient Gear Golem. Ancient Gear Golem is a level 8 Earth Machine with 3k attack and 3k defense. He can't be special summoned, and when he declares an attack, your opponent cannot use spell or trap effects until the end of the damage step. And it does piercing damage, basically meaning if your opponent's got mirror forces and other battle traps, they can't use it in response to an attack declared by Ancient Gear Golem. Not being able to special summon is a giant pain in the ass though, because, you know, he's a big level 8 beater, so having a tribute for him is kind of dumb. However, in the future we get some support that lets you kind of just cheese him out. That's cool. Plus, you know, again, mascot of the set. Number 9 is Master Monk. He cannot be, what was he, level 5 rock? For some reason, this warrior dude is a rock type, level 5 earth, with 1900 attack, which is pretty lousy for a level 5, but his effect is kind of nifty. You can't normal summon him or set him, but you can special summon him by tributing one monk fighter from your field. And this guy can attack twice during one battle phase. So, sure, his attack might be kind of low, but if you can boost him up with something, you can possibly OTK with this, or at least help push for game. Now, I would never say the monk theme, they're not really an archetype because they all have different names, but I wouldn't say the monk theme is particularly good, but looking at this set, it's one of the better things in the set, and it's kind of nifty. It's got a bunch of support cards, like it all kind of came out in one shot, so you can make a deck right out the gate. It's at least kind of interesting, and there's tons of rock support in the set for some odd reason, so that's a thing. So, okay, Master Monk. Elemental Hero Thunder Giant. I could have put any of the E-Heroes here, because this is the debut GX set, and it wouldn't be GX without E-Heroes. But I figured I'm going to actually look at all of the E-Heroes that were available in this first set. Most of them are vanilla normal monsters that go in the main deck, and that's kind of dumb. But the fusions are actually kind of okay, and I think of the two that came out in the set, I think he's the better one. What does he do? A 2400 attack and 1600 defense. He's not the best fusion monster you're ever going to make, but he at least has a decent effect. I just wish his materials were a little better. First of all, you can only fusion summon him using his materials. You can't special summon by other methods, so you can't choose him out with something like Metamorphosis, which was a card running around at the time because, like I said, this GOAT format, so people are metamorphosizing GOAT tokens into Thousand Eyes or Strix. So that's a play right now. But once returned, you can discard one card from your hand to target one monster on the field and destroy it. The hitch is the monster destroyed must be face up, and its attack must be less than this monster's attack. Now, it does say the monster being pop's original attack must be lower than this, but it doesn't say this card's original attack, so presumably, if you gave this thing a power boost, you'd be able to pop pretty much anything, which is awesome, and that kind of spot removal in a boss monster is a little ahead of its time. I gotta give it to Thunder Giant. That's a bit forward thinking for him. Sure, the discard cost is kind of lame. That means he'll never let you get any advantage. He's always gonna just 1-for-1 everything, but even still, in a boss monster, that's the kind of thing we like to see. Some sort of removal. That's cool. Next up, we have any one of the Charmers, whatever you want. They all came out in this set. And what do? They're all flip effect monsters that can take control of one of your opponent's monsters when they're flipped that has the same attribute as the particular monster. So the earth one steals an earth, the fire one steals a fire, and the water one steals a water, and so on and so forth. Why are these on the list? Well, they got support later on, so that's kind of cool. They're kind of a running theme in the game, I guess. They're one of the more, I wouldn't call them a mascot, but they're like, Field Commander Raz and Freed the Matchless General, where they always end up in cards, and the little familiars just end up in cards. So that's kind of cool. Plus, they're not just for the turn like most steal your opponent's stuff cards. They're actually permanent. So that's notable. Flip effects aren't very good, but they're at least one of the more annoying NPC decks in Duel Links. That's a thing. Rock Bombardment is the next card. Here's where you start realizing how lame this set is, where a card like this is on the list. But looking at the set, it's not bad. You flip this card up, it's a trap card, you mill one rock-type monster from your deck to the graveyard, then you burn your opponent for 500 damage. The burn, really, who cares? But I think what we care about is it's a foolish burial for rock monsters. Sure, it's a trap, so it's really slow, but when this came out, it's at least a viable way of milling rock monsters out of your deck. There's another card on this list that could use the rock monster in your graveyard for something, so that's also cool. And I'll never badmouth the Foolish Burial, even if it's stuck on a trap. And hey, with the new time rules, you might get him with that 500. Oh look, the card I was talking about was next. MEGAROCK Dragon! This level 7 Earth Rock monster has the following effect. He cannot be normal summoned or set. He must be special summoned by banishing one rock monster from your graveyard as his inherent special summoning cost. Yeah, so he's like a rock BLS. Every attribute has these things where you can banish one of the attribute and summon it. Rock already had one, right? It was the giant dude, but they got another one. So he's at least coming out with 700 attack. This set's got a lot of weird, this card's face down, do something, or when this card's flipped, do something, and they're all rock types, and some of them banish. I don't get why this whole set is completely transfixed on just flipping your monsters and moving them around and stuff, but whatever. He at least has some synergy with the set itself, and banishing your rock monsters, you can probably get a big beater out of this thing. It's an easy special summon, which for this time in the game, an easy special summon is an easy special summon. That is still notable. So I'll give it to MEGAROCK Dragon for at least being easy to play. He's not very good. He's probably not going to have a huge attack, but he's okay. RESHEF the Dark Being. I didn't even know this card existed until I looked at the set, and I'm surprised because he's kind of solid. He's a level 8 Light Fiend, which is really super stupid, being that he's called the Dark Being, but whatever. He's got 2500 attack, and he's a ritual monster, meaning he's pretty easy to summon, assuming you have all the materials in your hand. He's a big special summon. That's cool. And by discarding one spell card, you can take control for the turn one of your opponent's monsters. That's not a bad effect. Big Eye got a lot of love in XC format because he steals monsters, and Snatch Steal got a lot of love in that format because it steals monsters. So you know what? RESHEF, he steals monsters. Stealing monsters is always good because it's a good way of immediately gaining advantage off of your opponent, making them a lose advantage. It's a really good play, actually. It's just having a specific discard cost of a spell is annoying. However, in a modern ritual deck, that's actually not the end of the world because half the time you pre-prep for something, you get a bunch of monsters and a bunch of spells, you got your manjus, you got your regular preps, you got all your search cards for rituals, and you always end up with 3 spells and a monster or some dumb ratio. So the fact that he can maybe like pitch an extra ritual for himself is, you know, that's like kind of alright. So I'll give him that. It's probably not the end of the world for his discard cost, and stealing a monster is at least alright. I wish he had more attack power, and I wish this was a quick effect, but okay, not terrible. This one's one of my favorite cards. Battery Charger. Battery Charger is really weird because in this set as a bubble, it's just awful. It only targets Battery Man AA, and AA is probably one of the worst ones. But he at least has a target, and for 500 life points, you can special summon one Battery Man from your graveyard to your field. And it's not once per turn. For a Resurrection card, that's not a cost at all. 500 life points is nothing, and the fact that you can just play as many of these as you have monsters in your graveyard that are viable targets is really solid. And in a Battery Man deck, this is a 3 of with no question. If you play less than that, then you, sir, don't know how to Yugi bands. I like Battery Charger. It's a good card. Sadly, it's not very good in the set, but just looking at the set with a surface level knowledge of the game, it's one of the best cards in the set. Number 2 is King of the Skull Servants. Yeah, King of the Skull Servants. He's kind of old. The weird part about this card being in this high on the list is, at this time, there really wasn't any support for the deck. There's some generic zombie support, but none of it's very good. It's pretty much 3 of this and 3 Skull Servant. That's about it. You don't have like White Princess and White Prince and Lady of White, and I should know the rest of them, but I don't because I'm bad at Yu-Gi-Oh! Let's be real. But a Dark Zombie level 1 is with 0/0. That's fantastic. That's so searchable, it's stupid. Like, there's tons of crap that can get that out of the grave or out of the deck. So that's really good. And what does he do? He gains 1,000 attack for every Skull Servant and King of the Skull Servants in the graveyard. And it's a zombie deck, so you're milling zombies, you're dumping zombies, you got all these stupid Skull Servants in the grave, and you just play this thing to the field, and it's got some absurd, stupid, like 7,000 attack. Like, it's like, you know, I would never say Skull Servants is a fantastic deck, but you really can't badmouth the deck that can play a monster with over 5,000 attack. Like, if Utopia the Lightning can't out your guy, then that's a big dude. That's a big dude. And when you only have, like, you know, 8,000 life points, if you can have a monster that can pretty much do one-shotting somebody just by one attack, that's you really can't say it's bad, because it's like, because if it connects, you lost the duel. It's not like you can soak up the damage and have to end the turn, then you just OTK in the next turn with your actual good deck. No, this thing's got so much power potentially that if you let it get through, it can surprise and cheese a win. So I gotta give the Skull Servant, you know, for a card that's like, you know, this card sucks and it's card text. You know, King of the Skull Servants, man, he's a big dude. He's a big dude. For honorable mentions, we only have one. Like I said, the set's just so lackluster. It was really hard to come up with anything I want to put in this section because it's hard enough to get 10 cards I even could think of something awesome to say about. However, to digress, it's like really, when I first looked at the set, it was literally number 1, the number 1 card, King of the Skull Servants, and like and Battery Charger. It was like those 3 cards. I was like, wow, these 3 cards are good. Everything else is ooh. But no, I kind of thought it out, and I was like, whatever. And this card was one of the ones I was like, you know what? This is at least neat. Mid-Shield Gardna. It's like almost a Yugi card. Almost. Once per turn, you can set this card face down. That seems to be a theme of this set. Like, half the cards in here are rock monsters that set themselves. I don't get it. I mean, it'd be a cool game mechanic if it worked, but it's like relying on a normal set for your main play style to get monsters on board. Like, that's so slow, and like even at this point in the game, that's really awkward. But if they could somehow make an archetype that all flip themselves face down and, like, you know, shuffled around like all these want to do, kind of like Ghost Tricks, if Ghost Tricks had more oomph, that'd actually be kind of a cool play style. But these, like even like Ghost Tricks, like these set themselves cards, they're kind of awkward to play. But anyway, no, why he's on the honorable mentions is his other effect. When this thing is targeted while it's face down by a spell effect, you can negate that spell effect and then flip this thing up. It's And like that is just a really weird card effect. Because if you know how Yu-Gi-Oh works, when cards are face down, they're normally considered to not be, they're not anything. They don't have stats, they don't have a type, they don't have an attribute, they're not material for anything. They're just a blank monster in defense position with no effect. Because even if you all know what it is, because it was Book of Moon or something, there's like, just for pure game mechanics, it's not considered anything but a body on board. You can't, because it can't link with it, you can't exceed with it, you can't sync with it. You can fusion with it, but that's an exception to the rule, not the rule itself. But no, this thing can negate something while it's face down. That's just really strange. Like, it only works because if your opponent targets it, you flip it up as part of resolution and then be like, oh look, it didn't work. So it otherwise, like, if it didn't work like that and it was literally just stayed itself face down, could you imagine how weird that'd be? Like, your opponent would target with something and be like, nah bro, I negate it. Trust me. Because you don't have to flip it. But no, it at least flips itself face up. But even still, that's just a really weird effect. I thought it was kind of neat. It's bad, but it's at least kind of neat. No, man. But we do have a couple dishonorable mentions on this list, and these are these cards. First up, we have Shifting Shadows. It's a continuous spell that once per turn, you can pay 300 life points to shuffle around all your face-down monsters. Again, if like that was a viable way of winning, playing nothing but defense might be kind of cool. Because it's like, ooh, it's like the magical hats, but a whole archetype. What you gonna attack? But as it stands, this is just a bad mechanic. Defense decks in general have a hard time winning because you can't win when all your monsters are in defense mode. You have no way of attacking. Unless you're super heavy samurai and you got the one dude who can do that. So, or more than one. Is it more than one? I don't remember. I haven't played that deck ever. But in general, as a rule, it's hard to win when all your monsters are just always in defense mode. So if they're face down, that's even worse. It's like, it's like some weird flip deck. But at least from a concept, it's kind of neat, but it's a bad card. And what's up with that 300 life point cost? Like, why does this even have a cost? Like, they had to balance it? Like, and why 300? What a weird number. But, okay, whatever. I'm spending too much time on this. Impenetrable Formation. I love this card. It's so stupid. It's a continuous spell that says you can select one monster on your side of the field, and while you control 2 or more monsters, and they are all in defense mode, the selected monster gains 700 defense. And then if the selected monster leaves the field, you destroy this card. Why? We have equipped spells that raise cards' defense that are better than this and don't require you to have more than one monster on board. I don't, and then those are searchable because of Hidden Armory. So I don't understand why this card exists, having such a strange, like if they all gained 700 while they were in defense mode, that would make some sense from the card design, because the card design are like, you know, all these dudes with their shields locked together making a shield wall. So you think, oh, if we're all in defense mode, our defenses are better. So we all get a boost. I mean, there's field spells that and that luster shield thing that do that better, but if that's how you want to play it, then this thing should give everybody a boost, and it should be a big boost because it's got the stipulation that everything must be in defense. I could go for hours why this is just terrible card design, but I don't get what it was like, what the target deck was for. Like, it's frustrating because it's stupid. But anyway, let's keep going. Alright guys, that moment you've all been waiting for. The number one slot of Lost Millennium goes to Brain Control. Kind of weird the best card in this set was actually a card used in the previous generation, but okay. And even if you consider the modern errata for this card, it's still one of the better cards in the set. However, we will discuss both. Before the errata, you paid 800 life points to target one monster your opponent controls and then take control of that target for the turn. It was just change of heart with a life point cost. And it was fan-freaking-tastic. What a great card. And then it spent a boatload of time on the ban list, but then it came off the ban list with a crappy errata that says you can only steal monsters that can be normal summoned. It doesn't say monsters that were normal summoned or set, just monsters that can be normal summoned or set, which is alleviating it a little bit. Like, oh, well, I special summoned Bubble Man from the hand. Oh, I'm going to steal your Bubble Man. Sure, Bubble Man was special summoned, but you could normal summon it conceivably, so okay, I could steal that. However, in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, when this thing came off the ban list, that's just real bad. Because most monsters that you're going to end your turn with and pass are going to be extra deck monsters. You can't normal summon a fusion. This isn't Gen 1, Season 1 Duelist Kingdom where Joey just was rocking a flame swordsman in his main deck and just cheating. It's not that. He didn't even tribute for it. He just slapped that crap on the field. And they even made it a purple card in the... okay, no. But no, that errata makes the card kind of bad. But if you took that errata and then, like, put it in a time machine and then zapped it back to when this set came out, I think it would still be the best card in the set. Because at this point, you're probably normal summoning good monsters and still ending your turn with those good monsters. That's still a conceivable strategy for this. Like, you know, you still got beaters, you still got, you know, your opponent's Magician of Faith and things like that. So, hey, that's kind of cool. So yeah, as a number one, for either way you want to look at it, I think it's a solid place for the spot on the list. But anyway, guys, that was the Lost Millennium, the first GX set. It's kind of a shame that GX kind of started with kind of a lackluster set, but it only took them one set to get their crap together. The next set is actually probably one of the more influential sets to ever hit the game, and it officially ends our GOAT format. So, hey, you know what? Let's stay tuned for the next time when we get to get that list. And if you guys want to get in on the list creating processes, just join the Discord. Every like Sunday before I film it, I'm like, hey guys, let's make a list, and then everyone who's there can help me. And I always take your input, you know, because some of these cards I never played, so having more input is always good, because you guys know more than I do most of the time. So, you know, more the merrier. Get in that Discord. So, guys, let me know in the comments below what you guys think. And remember, guys, if you don't troll no matter who will, I'll see you guys for the next Top Tuesday. Cha!
Ah, don't you know what to do? Think all you like, you're still gonna stomp that subscribe button. Make sure to watch these other videos. Come on, quit stalling. Fossilizing over here. Slow play. Judge!